Oh, over here. Come on. Over here. Here, let me take this from. Oh, you got your photo. Okay, you can take it. Come here. Yeah, we'll get over here. Get over here. He'll speak right here, so if you could come right here. Perfect. I'll let you see in the front so everyone can see the photo. You got the photo? Got it? Got your photo? All right. Got the speaker. We're ready.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Just a few moments ago, the House Republicans voted to end the Democrat Department of Homeland Security shutdown once and for all. And we are pleased to tell you that we'll be funding for the next 3 years our border security and immigration enforcement. These are critical agencies and critical functions of the federal government, to state the obvious. And it's rather shocking to us that Democrats wanted none of it. We have 3 full years of funding now, and there is not a Democrat here who voted to support that. But what we've done now by funding it for 3 years is we've taken away their ability to cut that funding, to block that funding, or to take hostage the funding for the remainder of the Trump administration. And again, it's rather sad and shocking to us that it came to this, but that's the time we're in. A partisan vote to fund the enforcement of federal immigration law. Just think of it. But this is good news for everybody except Washington Democrats, okay? They gained absolutely nothing from their reckless crusade to return our country to open borders and unfettered mass migration. House Republicans will always stand with America's law enforcement, and we will always work to ensure that these brave men and women have the resources they need to carry out their responsibilities, to protect America's families and communities, and to prevent tragedies like the murder of Laken Riley, Sheridan Gorman, and so many other precious lives that have been lost as a result of President Biden and the Democrats' open border policies for 4 years. With us today are a few of those families, and we thank them for being here to bravely share their stories, because they have such impact. And they remind us that we can never go back to those crazy policies again. Every single leader who voted to defund ICE and CBP should remember the faces and the stories of those Americans that we have lost. The American people are going to remember it. They're going to remember, too, that it was Republicans, and Republicans alone, who did the responsible thing and funded these critically important agencies at this critical time. Democrats, on the other hand, demonstrated to the entire country once again how little they prioritize the security of our borders and the livelihoods of those who put their own lives at risk and on the line to defend our homeland. Today's Democratic Party has sadly been infiltrated with an insurgent wing of radicals, Marxists, categories of people that would never even considered running for office before, but that's who we have. And they are fundamentally opposed to the underlying mission of our border and immigration agencies. And this Republican majority and the American people are not going to abide that. The historic mandate that put President Trump in the White House and Republican majorities in both the House and the Senate is evidence of the fact that Democrats' defund the police agenda is wildly out of step with hard-working American families. After 4 long years of Democrat policies that open the door to dangerous criminals and deadly drugs, Republicans are delivering on our promise to restore safe streets and secure our borders. I'll turn it over to our Majority Leader, Steve Scalise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, Democrats proved once again with their voices and with their votes that they want open borders and that they are willing to vote to defund the police. We've seen time and time again, whether it was the defund the police movement years ago in local communities and now here at the federal level, when we had to fight for months during a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security to properly fund the agency, and especially the law enforcement officers who risk their lives to keep our communities safe and enforce our immigration laws, keeping violent criminals out of our communities. When I spoke on the House floor earlier today for the bill, I mentioned, sadly, the many, many victims who have been murdered by people who came here illegally that our Border Patrol agents are trying to stop from coming into our country and trying to find and get out of our country so they can't kill more Americans. And yet every Democrat voted no because they want to defund those very law enforcement officers. It's disgraceful, but it's telling to the American people who want safe communities and deserve safe streets. We've worked closely with this president to provide safety in communities to the point where now we have the lowest murder rate in over 100 years. And yet there's still violent criminals out there. There's still terrorists who are trying to commit attacks here on our homeland. That's why we need a fully funded Department of Homeland Security. And Democrats, time and time again, voted to shut the entire agency down, leading to TSA lines, let's not forget that, leading to turmoil for millions of American families, and they don't care. They don't care about those families because all they want to do is continue to fight up here anything President Trump does, including trying to secure the border. If President Trump says he's going to secure the border, then they deem that something they will fight against, and they want an open border. Well, that's not where America is. I know we've got families up here who have truly felt the impact of this violence, of some of these horrible people that have come into our country and committed some of the most violent crimes. We keep them all in our prayers. We continue to not only pray for them, but work and vote to ensure that our Department of Homeland Security has the tools to keep our country safe so this never happens again. With that, turn it over to our chair, Lisa McClain.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Thank you, Speaker Johnson. And more importantly, thank you for all of you guys for being here. Sadly, I wish you weren't here. Right? I'm sure you wish you weren't here too. But I applaud your courage to come and tell your story so we can hear your voices, so America can hear your voices. Today is about keeping a promise to the American people. For 4 years, we watched the consequences of an open border agenda unfold in communities across the country. We saw record illegal crossings. We saw neighborhoods and families destroyed by fentanyl carried over the border. Just take a look at what you see up here. These are facts. These are people. These are sons, daughters. Take a look at these faces. Put a face to the names, to the policies, and the votes that these people take. We saw memorial photos replace family photos on living room mantles. Empty seats were left at dinner tables in towns and cities across this country. And almost every single Democrat voted to open the border. You need to make them own that vote. You need to make them own the choices and the votes that they made to put illegal criminals over our sons and daughters. That's who they chose. Take a look. They rolled out a welcome mat for caravans full of illegals to tell violent criminals that they can cross into America without facing, fully paid and fully equipped border operations. Gang, that's crazy. That is why today's passage of the Secure America Act is so gravely important. This legislation gives our frontline law enforcement officers the resources they need to do their job and secure our borders. Most importantly, it sends a message to the families who have suffered unimaginable loss, some of whom we have here today, that sadly I wish wouldn't be here, that didn't need to be here if we had our borders closed. We hear you. We stand with you, and we are committed to ensuring other families never have to endure what you've had to endure. America is safer when our laws are actually enforced. Our borders are secure, and common sense leads the way. That is what we're up here doing. We want to fight for your children. We want to make your communities safe, not open it up to violent, illegal criminals. But I'm going to share with you, that's what every single Democrat wants. They want open borders. We don't. So it is now my honor to put some names to the faces of the policies that as Republicans, we do everyday common sense legislation, like close the border and protect your communities and protect your children. But every day the Democrats choose to roll out a welcome mat and let all these illegals come in. Now, with that, to put some faces to the names, because votes have consequences, it is my honor to introduce Chris Story, a woman who knows all too well the devastating consequences of radical open border policies. Chris, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Chris Story. This is my brother, Joe Story. I'm here to tell anyone who thinks that there is no cost to our country having open borders, they're wrong. The cost is American lives. Americans being killed, maimed, injured every single day at the hands of these illegal aliens who should have never been in our country to start with. My brother Joe and I were on vacation when an illegal alien from Honduras who was drunk ran a red light, killed my brother instantly, critically injured me, and destroyed our family. The illegal alien who killed Joe was allowed to flee. They caught him, put him in jail. A judge reduced his bond, and he fled again for a second time. And the DA's office treated my family like criminals, and they let the man who killed my brother walk free, and he's still out there walking free. Who knows how many others he's killed. He may not have, but he may have. So anyway, it takes a toll on all of these families. I've met so many families across the whole country. We are devastated. The cost is too high for us having open borders. It has to end. There has to be something done about it. And this administration and President Trump are the first ones that have done anything to help our families. And I cannot thank you enough.
So next up is April Babcock, I guess. Is that? April, go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker Johnson. And I want to thank the Trump administration. My son died from illicit fentanyl poisoning. Since his passing, I started a nonprofit, Lost Voice of Fentanyl, and we're the boots on the ground. We're just trying to warn Americans. We're trying to save your kids from death. Our kids are dead. We can't bring them back, but we're just trying to raise awareness and warn the public. And I really want to say, any politician that does not support funding ICE, funding CBP, securing our border, they are traitors to our country. So eat your sandwich because it might be the last sandwich you ever eat. We are sick and tired of funerals. These are Americans losing their lives, and it's not normal, but it's a common story. We've lost over 500,000 Americans, and that's a very lowball number. Something's got to change. I thank from the bottom of my heart everything the Trump administration has done, closing the de minimis loophole, labeling the Mexican cartels as terrorists, securing our southern border. We got to get more aggressive with our northern border. He started a public service announcement, the fentanyl-free America. I mean, the list is never ending. And under Joe Biden, we were ignored. And that is just the facts. And we're sick and tired of funerals, and we want to be heard. And we appreciate you giving us the time to speak. And again, I want to thank the Trump administration. Whole of government approach. Let's go after these people. Thank you.
Thanks, April, for your strong voice and your advocacy. Next up is Jackie Long.
Hi. Thank you, Speaker Johnson and Leader Scalise. We really appreciate it. And, you know, I'm here to say that the Secure America Act was needed. I wish we could fund ICE and CBP. I can't even believe that we have to ask for funding for agencies that protect American citizens. With open borders, it allowed so many illegal aliens to come through. There are at least a good 200,000 victims that you haven't even heard about that were murdered by illegal aliens. There are over 500,000 U.S. citizens that have died from fentanyl poisoning. 2 of those victims are my son, Ryan, and his girlfriend, Stephanie, found together dead from illicit fentanyl poisoning. So we really do appreciate the Trump administration for taking the actions that are needed to stop the crises of this fentanyl in this country. We're losing lives every day still due to the fentanyl crisis, and even more synthetic drugs that are coming through our communities, through our country, stealing lives, devastating families. And from each victim, you understand there's a family behind that victim, that we're devastated every single day. We have empty chairs in our room, and at our dinner tables. At Christmas, I can't even celebrate Thanksgiving because I got the call the day before Thanksgiving, and I'm still not able to enjoy my Thanksgiving because it's just so devastating. And I look around and realize I was so alone when I got this call. I had nowhere to turn. I found Lost Voices of Fentanyl. I found these families that I wish I never even met. I love them, but I wish I never even had to meet them. Her group is 50,000, I think, strong now, and there's still more joining every day. This is not normal. We're tired of burying our children. We're tired of burying our families. We're tired of the children growing up without their parents. She had 2 sons. I really do appreciate the Trump administration for taking the actions that he has with the closing the de minimis loophole, signing the Halt Fentanyl Act, and continuing to save the lives of the American citizens. We appreciate this administration, Speaker Johnson, Leader Scalise, and everyone who supports this bill. Again, I'm just dumbfounded that it just isn't across the board funded, that because it is ICE and CBP protect this country. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jackie. Deborah Dinocenzo is next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Deborah Dinocenzo. This is my son, Michael. I lost my daughter, Dana, to fentanyl poisoning. 4 years later, I lost my son, Ricky, to fentanyl poisoning. His siblings. I cannot thank this administration, yourself, enough for everything that they are doing. Prior to this administration, we felt like we had nobody that cared about us, cared about either one of us, any of us parents that the illegal crime has affected, which is a lot of us. I did some research, and 32% of every American family has had somebody that has been poisoned by fentanyl. That's a lot. And it feels good. It's a really good feeling that we have an administration that is helping us, but it's still not enough. The fentanyl is coming in through the southern border. I have no doubt that the fentanyl that killed my children came from the southern border. So what happened today is huge. We need ICE. We need to save American lives. Why would we not want to do this? How they could vote against it, it baffles my mind. All these people, 500,000 people, that if it were up to them, they would not have ever been protected. Again, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to the administration for this opportunity to speak. And thank you for everything that you're doing and will continue to do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Michael Dinocenzo. I am Debbie Dinocenzo's son. It's a shame that I have to be here. I wish I wasn't here. It's a shame that my mom is going to cry right now. She's not supposed to be crying. Losing 2 siblings is hard. Losing anyone in your family to illicit fentanyl is really hard. It illicit fentanyl is not supposed to be coming through our borders. Thank God we have an administration that's putting something up to stop this. The borders need to be closed. We're going to strengthen our borders due to the new ICE Act that's being enforced by Speaker Johnson. Yesterday, we went to a funeral for my neighbor, and the funeral home owner knew us. Why would they know us? They're not supposed to know us. And it's just innocent children are dying. People my age, the average age is around 16. That's around my age. Why? And it's a shame that I have to be up here. Thank you.
Very well said. Last but not least, we're going to hear from Debbie Santini.
Thank you, Speaker Johnson. My name is Debbie Santini, and this is my son, Jesse Bird. He died 4 years ago of fentanyl poisoning with no real investigation into his death, how it happened. I don't stand up here for him. I stand up here for every family that says, not my kid, not my family, because it can happen to each and every one of you here in this room. Fentanyl poisoning doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care what nationality you are, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, it doesn't matter. We are all at risk of fentanyl poisoning. And for 4 years, as you've heard up here with the Biden administration, we were not heard by any of them. They didn't care. And President Trump heard our cries, and he's listened to us, and he's had us in the White House. They are working really hard to protect each and every American life. We have enough American criminals here in our country. We don't need to bring illegal alien criminals here and give them the right to continue to rape, murder, kill, and bring their illicit drugs to take more lives. My life and the life of my family has forever changed without my beautiful baby. My life will never be the same. And we all wish we had never known each other. I'm thankful for these women that I stand up here with. I'm thankful to you all and to the Trump administration. So this is why we do what we do. It's not for our families, it's for your family. Thank you.
Well, again, I want to thank Debbie and the DeNicenzos and Jackie and April and Chris for their advocacy. These are unspeakable tragedies, and it's so horrific that this happened on our shores in our country, and it was also unnecessary. Our hearts go out to you. Our prayers are with your family, and you represent your lost loved ones so well. And it does have a big impact and a big effect because people are moved by these stories. So thank you all again for your time and your advocacy and your endless struggles and heartaches. I think the country benefits from your stories, and we're glad you shared them. It does, again, emphasize the importance of the vote we took today. And we're grateful we're not going to have to deal with this problem for the next 3 years. But this is a cautionary tale for the next time that we've got to do this funding. We've got to make sure that it's bipartisan. It should be. It's a matter of common sense and decency. So I'll take a few questions if y'all have them. Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, 3 years before you have to pass CBP and ICE funding again. How do you make it so that other parts of the appropriations process, though, don't fall victim to this same way of passing appropriations funding? It sounds like there's already some talk that some people want to do that on your side of the aisle.
Well, look, we need to resist the idea, not to get into Civics 101 here, but the press corps understands it. Maybe a lot of people watching, listening to this don't. The federal government, the way Congress is supposed to work is that you do 12 separate appropriations bills, and you do them in what we refer to as regular order, and that means it goes through the committee process, and it goes through the amendment process, debate, discussion, deliberation. Ultimately, it's voted on by the whole House and the whole Senate, and it goes to the President for signature. So when you do it that way, it's a long, laborious process. It takes many months. It goes through a long, strenuous, detailed, exacting scrutiny on each one of these spending bills. And that's how Congress acts as good stewards of taxpayer funds. And we fund the key priorities, like keeping Americans safe. When we stray away from that, we are not only poor stewards of taxpayer resources, but we make a lot of mistakes. And Congress here, as you know, for a couple of decades, this sort of custom was built in that we would just govern by omnibus spending bills, the dreaded Christmas omnibus at the end of the year where it's hoisted upon everyone in thousands of pages and sometimes, you know, we're talking about billions, trillions of dollars in spending. And Congress has not done its deliberate process. And so when I became Speaker almost 2.5 years ago, I committed that we would get us back to regular order. And regular order is, again, doing 12 separate appropriations bills. So it is a terrible thing that the Democrats broke off these two agencies out of the Department of Homeland Security funding, that appropriations bill, and they decided that for political purposes, raw political purposes, they wanted to shut the government down because they didn't want to give one penny more to enforce immigration, federal immigration law, and to secure the border. It defies common sense, it defies explanation, but that's what they did because they made a political calculation that would help them in the upcoming election. So we have to get back, again, once more, back to regular order. We have to make sure that you don't have orphan agencies that one party decides they don't like with all these critical functions that are performed for the safety and security of American families so they don't have to suffer these great losses. We've got to make sure it's part of the regular appropriations process. We cannot be breaking out pieces of government funding like that. I'm against it. I think it's a dangerous trend for the country. Most of the appropriators are against that. And most members, when they think about this, it's no way to run a railroad. And so there's a lot of discussion about how we get back to regular order, and we do not make this a new trend or a new custom. And so the appropriators are working right now. You've noticed, you've probably seen the discussion on Homeland Security funding. They're going to go through and appropriate in the regular process again. And we're going to hope that this does not become a trend that either party uses. That's my position. I think it should be the position of the whole Congress. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Two questions. One, did you speak to the President about Bill today as FISA hangs in the balance, the deadline coming up? And the other, since the vote with the U.S. has announced it has struck again at Iran in March, you said that you thought things were wrapping up there. Are you concerned about escalation? How long do you think this mission will last?
Yeah, it was announced just as we were walking in here, there is a defensive strike that has been taken. It is proportional and limited. The White House and the Pentagon have announced and said it's against unjustified Iranian aggression. They did notify me as the leader of the House before this began, and it's targeted strikes to the radar, missile, and command and control sites, and it is defensive in nature. We lament that that has become necessary, and the reason it did, as you all know, is because Iran struck U.S. assets and personnel. We can't allow that, and so we're going to have to take care of this business. So I was at the White House today. I think it was a couple hours in the Situation Room this morning, and the Vice President was there, Secretary of State, Secretary of War, the CIA Director, and others. We were with the President, and we talked about Iran and a number of other matters, including FISA's reauthorization. And let me just say, because this is part of the question, and some of you will ask, we must get FISA reauthorized. If FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, is the #1 national security intelligence tool that we have. Roughly 2/3 of the President's daily national security briefing comes from intelligence that is collected from us surveilling foreign dangerous people, terrorists, and others who mean Americans harm. We can't let it go dark. It expires on Friday. And we in the House passed a reauthorization of FISA back in April, on April 29th. And it had some more meaningful reforms to tighten it up and make sure that it works well and as designed. We passed that. It's been sitting in the Senate. They had been working on a bicameral, bipartisan solution to get this done, and that was working well until just a few days ago when the Democrats decided once again, like they decided not to fund border and immigration enforcement, they decided now they don't want to reauthorize FISA because the president announced an interim appointment, a short-term appointment for something they disagreed with. You cannot play politics with the security of the American people. And that is a common theme between what we're discussing today and with the reauthorization of FISA. And it shows you what the other party, where their priorities are. I am praying that they come to their senses and that the Senate can work this out and we move forward and we do not let this critical national security tool expire. The Republicans have done our job in the House. The Republicans in the Senate are willing to do their job, but they need a few Democrats to help. As you know, that's the vote tally. So we're really hopeful they'll get that done and we can finish this job.
Last question.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Leader Thune earlier today said it was his understanding that President Trump may be moving closer
to appointing a full-time DNI, which he's hoping would sort of assuage some of these Democratic concerns with FISA. Is it your understanding, too, that the president is nearing an announcement of a full-time DNI?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's made that clear himself, and he's been interviewing people. I think there's 5 candidates, as was discussed today, and yesterday they discussed it. I do think we're very close to getting that done, and it's an important position and one that I think will be filled by a highly qualified person. And so, look, the president has the prerogative on whom he chooses. The Senate, of course, has confirmation responsibility. But I'm confident they'll find a person who will meet all that criteria, and we look forward to getting that done. I want to thank these families again for taking the time and going through the heart-wrenching exercise it is to tell these stories. But again, it's important. So bless you all. You're in our prayers. You continue to be. Sorry for your loss. Thank you. We'll go out of this.
Yeah, we're going to grab it first.
Here. We go this way.